Hiram. So,
Gotcha.
I knew about y'all before y'all were coming out.
Wow. That's dope.
And I love y'all. Like I love Drew Hill. Drew Hill, but I'm gonna tell you this while you're on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you left, I know why. I didn't understand my walk in the business,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know why the Most High kept freezing my stuff up because I'm like, wait a minute, I got this huge deal, you
Yep.
know. Um, Andre Harrell was managing me first. He came to me
Oh
with this
wow.
whole idea of being the queen of hip hop, soul, the
Mm-hmm.
queen of the ghetto. And I was like, I don't want to be that. That's not me. I'm all eclectic and whatever. And
Right.
what's
Right.
it ended up being for Mary. The Most High never
Mm-hmm.
wanted me to be any of that. And I didn't understand it.
Sit right there.
Never
That's the same
understood
thing
it.
I say all the time. Like, oh, and that's what I try to even get the other three members of the group to understand. Like, when the Most High have a different plan for you, it's not up to you to say it. Like, and when I left, just to make a long story short or whatever, like right before I left, I had prayed on the tour bus. I stayed on the tour bus by myself one night. Everybody else went to the hotel or whatever. We were overseas. And I said, why is it that everybody else is getting what they want to out of this whole deal or whatever, and I'm not getting what I want? Like I feel like I'm just being pushed to the back. I feel like when we first came out, the day before we got signed, my face broke out like inexplicably. And I looked crazy to the point where when Harold and them first seen me, they probably like, why you bring this monster up here? And my face had never did anything like that. And so like that happened. And then like the incident where we were actually shot at, that's what I was getting to. Like we went to Paris and the people that were there already told us like, y'all gonna be beefing tonight. So we like, why would we be beefing? And they said, well, this rapper was here, and they was all fighting. So we like, but we sing love music. When we get finished
Right,
singing, all the guys gonna be looking for the closest young lady that they can get close to and try and take something home for real, do grown up stuff. But
right.
sure enough, it was like a group of people that were lined up that would fight all the artists. It was really a robbery thing, and like the venue was in on it. So that's what happened. But like the night before, I prayed. I said, why am I not getting out of this what everybody else is getting out of it? And the voice came to me. It was nothing spooky, nothing scary, but a voice came in my ear. It was like, you never going to get what you want until you're doing it for me. So when that
Ooh,
happened, I was like, the next day when I go back and I see all them, I'm telling them I quit. But then when I saw everybody was in such good spirits. And, absence make the heart grow fond of the fact that I wasn't kicking it with them the day before, whatever. Everybody was happy to see me. They run up to me, what, where you was at, boy, this,
right,
that, you missed
right.
this, you missed that. So I ain't had the heart to tell them. And the next city was when we went to Paris. So mind you, that conversation that I had, you never gonna get what you get one out of it till you're doing it for me. Then the whole thing happened in Paris. They shot at us. They shut an electric fence. Like after the show, they came up and they said, we always ask for 20 minutes to dry off and get ourselves together before we meet and greet any fans. So one of the guys said, I want my picture now. And the guy was like, look, you got to give them 20 minutes or whatever. Then they come out and take all the pictures you want. So then he got into it with the guy that was with us, got into it with that guy because the guy told him go F himself or whatever. So then they got to fighting. Next thing we know, we in the room cooling down. And the security come in and said, we need y'all in the car right now. They ran us out to the vehicle. These guys shut an electric fence. And it was a lady that was with us that was able, what they say sometimes the queen is able to make moves that the king can't make. She was able to slide out and without
Mm-hmm.
anybody noticing her and open the electric fence. We made it back to the hotel. And it was a young lady that was a fan of ours that, like me, that was waiting for me in my room after the show was over. So, of course, she was able to speak French and tell the national for the police. So for the rest of the tour, we had the National Guard. But while this fight was going on, it was just like everything was happening in real time. But in my mind, it looked like it was happening in slow motion. And I just thought about the story of Jonah and the whale, whereas though the Most High had told Jonah to go to
Yep,
Nineveh, but Jonah decided to go somewhere else. So
that's
when it
right.
all unfolded, I'm telling them, I said, all of this is happening because I'm not supposed to be here. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
all of us could have died because I'm being hard-headed and I'm supposed to be somewhere else. But
Mm-hmm.
the scriptures say that carnal things cannot be understood. I mean, spiritual things cannot be
Can't be
understood by a carnal
understood, right?
mind.
Right.
So to
Mm-hmm.
this day, those guys don't understand that the reason why I really did them a favor in leaving. And they
Mm-hmm.
try to attribute it to carnal stuff like, oh, Wood, a church boy, and he got scared when he was shooting. Like, no, man, my house got shot into when I was younger. We didn't move. And we also had another shootout. Me and Cisco was at how can I be down at music conference? I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my gosh.
And So For Real was on stage performing, and it just happened. It just a shootout just started happening right in there. And then like everybody ran off the stage. So For Real ran off the stage. Everybody dispersed, and me and Cisco standing in the back by the bar, looking like Beavis and Butthead, or like the two guys on Biggie album. Yo, is there a red dot on your forehead? Like, yo, did you see them bottles bust behind your head? Like, yo, some just bust behind your head. And it was a guy named Sean T. Met him later on and ended up hanging out with him. Cool guy. He just came and picked both of us up because at that time, this is the first album, so I was still skinny. And Cisco, a little tiny guy. So he just took and threw us both over his shoulders and ran out of the club with us. We ain't even know enough to be scared. They would think it was just shock. Neither one of us was scared. We just said, oh, like, yo, this really happened, like some movie stuff. So that happening, I'm like, so I left because I was scared of gunshots. When we just stood right there and got shot at like the Matrix, the bullets whizzing past us like the Matrix, and my house got shot at you. No, I understood when the father said to me that this is not where I want you at, and nothing you want is going to happen for you while you're here. So you basically spinning your wheels. So with that being said, I got out of there, and I gave them my blessing to continue on doing what they did, but what you just said, hello, y'all can still hear me? Because I don't see y'all no more. Okay, guys, I can't see y'all no more here. Prince, I met Prince when I left, I thought the answer was to go do a gospel album. But something you just said a little while ago, the church don't teach nobody nothing different in general. You have some good churches, but the church in general don't teach nobody nothing different than what else. They the main ones lined up to go see these concerts and stuff. So like I go to church and I go and put out a gospel album, and the stuff I saw associated with that gospel world is just as bad, if not worse, than the R&B world, because at least you expect it from the R&B people. They singing, I'm a Doug, I'm a hustler, I'm a rob you, I'm a steal from you, and all the girls, I'm a freak, and I'm this and that and the other one. You get in the gospel world, them people, the guy Isaac Curry that run around with Kurt Franklin, man, those guys called Men of Standard. I wanted to do a song. They did one of my favorite gospel groups ever is the Winans. I still love the Winans. Like, to me, the Mountain Rushmore groups is Commission, the Winans, and Joe.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So like they remade Trust in God. So I wanted to do a Winans remake for my gospel album, and I reached out to Warren Campbell, who did my project with me. Warren Campbell, who's with Erica from Mary Mary, and they got a church out in Cali. Yeah. So he was helping to produce my gospel album, like one of the main producers on it. So he knew those guys. So he reached out to them, and they came and sung the song. Him and Lowell came and sung the song with me. Lowell, boy, that boy is a monster. Both of them vocally, they crazy. But Isaac said to me, and I never been got like right flat out by R&B artists except for my own group members. But outside of that, R&B group people was cool. So he said, look, man, Def Jam ain't never cut us the check, and we about to go overseas. He called me like, sound like he was crying. So I said, look, I will give you the money out of my pocket. So when Def Jam cut you the check, you give me the money back. When I tell you to this day, and I made that gospel album in 1999, to this day, that man still ain't getting my money back. And that's a gospel singer. He running around with all the Isaac Curry. I never say his name in other interviews. I wouldn't say somebody, but Isaac Curry still owe me $2,500 from 1999. And just, like it never happened, and you just see so much on the gospel tours, like everybody's shagging up and going in rooms and stuff like that. And without offending any group of people or whatever, but a lot of the men in the gospel world really don't like ladies. So I just say that. So
but you know ladies, what? I don't mean to cut you off, but you know what? We got to stop being apologetic for the Most High's word. He said it's an abomination. It's not that we don't love people. I have so many gay friends.
I love them too. I got family that,
But we can't go along with it. We can't be like, okay, you know what? We're gonna be at your wedding, bro. And we're gonna be, you know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I don't do that.
We just can't. But go ahead, because your little story's good. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that like there's so many guys in the gospel world not really liking ladies. It's the equivalent. I put it like this. When I went to Washington State years and years ago, the ladies there was like that black men don't like black women in Washington State. Like the black men all like other women that's of other races or whatever. So when black men come through that's not from Washington State, and there's black ladies there got a chance to get down with a black man, like you honestly can have one lady in your room. Not saying that that's what I did, but I'm saying that's what I seen. That I may or may not have participated or whatever, but that's before I knew what I know now. But anyway, you could have like one lady hanging out in your room. You can walk her back down to the lobby where other ladies see you walking that lady to her car or whatever, walking her out. And then another one will come right back with you, like waiting their turn. And that's basically what happens at those gospel conventions. Like when you get some quote unquote real men that I mean, well, everybody's real because we all flesh and blood, but men that like ladies, put it that way. A man can go to a room and pick up one young lady and hang out with her, bring her back to her room, and the roommate that's sitting on her bed will be ready to go with you. You know what I'm saying? And it was almost like Freaknik. Like I never, me being the member of the group that I was, that never really had the spotlight on me that much. You know, like I was a Cinderella. I was pushed to the back a lot. And that was all by design.
I like you. I like Woody. You always stood out to me. I always liked you. But go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, the Most High had it that way. You know, like he didn't let me, if he'd have let me get out of it what I wanted out of it, it'd have been harder for me to leave. You see what I'm saying? And people didn't really like, this pastor said it one time. He said like a janitor, if you look at a building, like as long as the building is running well, nobody's like, the janitor is doing a great job or whatever. You just look at it, everything is the way it's supposed to be. But you let that janitor take off work, then everybody's going to say, where in the world is the janitor? So that's how it was. Like, as long as I was there and just doing my little part and staying in the background or whatever like that, nobody really knew about me. Like, people would ask me, I mean, some people, but for the most part, people would come up to me and ask me, what you one of their cousins? You kind of look like one of them. Don't you one of their cousins? Or what you part of the band or something like that? But the day that I left, and like I said, back to what I was saying, because I talk around, but it always go back to the point where I was going. The fact that the Most High told me, well, whatever messenger he sent to tell me, you're never going to get what you want till you're doing it for me. The day I left that group, I was on the cover of the USA Today newspaper by myself. A picture of me in the corner, like a little stamp size, like the little picture in the corner. That was me. Wow. And it's like, since then, like even people that was used to be in the band and stuff like that would call me like, the atmosphere is just different when you're not here. Like the atmosphere, everybody used to be nice to each other. Now nobody really says anything to each other. It's just all business and stuff like that. It just feel cold without you here or whatever. So it's like everybody have their role that they portray. Everybody has their role that they feel. And like a lot of people don't know, I was actually the person who started the group. But my mom took me out because we weren't singing church music. Like the group started because it was something in my school called Singing Telegrams. And they had like the choir would pay the choir for real, pay the school to have like a group of people to come and sing at your classroom or whatever, sing to your Valentine. So then from there, I got known around the school for singing, but I was always shy. I was a nerd. I had glasses. I had jacked up teeth, whatever. So it's I was like a little baby Steve Urkel. So it's like, I'm like, I don't look the part. Like I got the voice, but I don't look like you're a romantic singer that'll go up to the girls. So I just started to surround myself with these other guys that I thought was like pretty boys or whatever, or ladies men that got all the girls and stuff. So it was just like me and these three other guys that used to sing every day at the school. So then one member came up that ended up being in the group now, came up. Well, I knew Cisco from middle school. We went to the same middle school, but he used to dance and I used to rap. And he used to draw also. So like I used to let him hold my book to see my drawings and my raps. And him and the other guy used to dance around the school and stuff like that. So we knew each other, but neither one of us knew the other was sing. Cause like back then, like I said, I used to rap, but once again, I didn't look the part. Nowadays, you can look like anything to be a rapper. Like these guys be looking like anything, like some gremlins or whatever, but they be rapping. But back then, you had to look a little thorough or a little tough or whatever. I'm like, I'm sitting here with my glasses on. Ain't nobody gonna believe me saying these hard lyrics that I'm coming up with. So but that's what I used to do in middle school, and people used to like to hear it, like, yo, sing that rap, yo, sing that one you say. I really like funny raps, like Will Smith and stuff that made people laugh. So they was like, get me to Sam or whatever, but like girls ain't respond to that. Back then, now that hip hop is the biggest thing, but back when I was coming up, hip hop was more so for the guys. Like the girls wanted to hear singing and New Edition and all of that type of stuff. So anyway, we would record ourselves every day. One of my teachers, Miss Cross, used to let us hold a tape recorder, record ourselves. So one guy, the guy that said he's the founder of the group, I say he founded the group just like Christopher Columbus discovered America. He was already there living. And then he just came and told everybody, hey, this is mine now. But how it happened, my mother took me out of the group because we started to get popularity. Like I said, like me and Cisco ran into each other. He came to my school because he worked in a wood shop class at his school, but the supplies they needed was at my school, and it was right down the street. So he came in the cafeteria and we were singing and harmonizing, and he was like, yo, what you doing with them singing? I was like, I sing. I grew up in church, and just come to find out, our family, his choir director left his church and came to my church. So we knew some of the same people and everything. My mom was choir director. So me and him started singing until the other guy came and found us singing in the cafeteria. So he did find us, all right. He came in the cafeteria and found us singing. But when my mom took me out of the group, one day she came up there I was supposed to be in coach class. She was paying people to teach me algebra. I still don't know algebra, but she paid the people to teach me algebra, and I'm sitting in the cafeteria singing. So she yanked me out, and then after that, she wouldn't let me sing with them. Like I would come after school every day and sing with them, but they got discovered by a manager at a talent show, and I wasn't there. So they would do like shows and stuff outside of the school, and that's the stuff that I couldn't come to. So whatever happened during that time, they got a deal and everything, but it was the development deal. And they never brought them out. Like they didn't know what to do with them because they were so young, but they didn't sing like Immature and all the other boy groups that was coming out at that time. Like they had grown men voices. Like they sung the way that they sing now when we was in high school. So like the label didn't know what to do with them, what direction to take them in. So they basically sat on the shelf. And then they asked me when we graduated high school, if we become a gospel group, would your mother let you sing with us again? So I asked my mother, and she said yes to the gospel thing, but she still wasn't sold on it. Like if my church wanted me to sing by myself or something, she's like, well, you ain't going with them boys because your church already asked for you this week. I said, hey, but they paying at that church over there. She said, nope, you don't burn the bridge that brought you over. Nobody wouldn't even know you knew how to sing if it wasn't for you singing in church. So this is where you going. So eventually I had a meeting with my pastor. His son was in a jazz ensemble. He played the piano. He's a jazz pianist over in Germany. So I kind of had a feeling like he'd look like a hypocrite if he said I couldn't go. So he gave my mom the blessing for me to go. And that's when we ended up, getting signed. Like the first time, like the guy asked us to try R&B one more time for him because we was doing the gospel thing. We was going from church to church. We called ourselves Legacy, which stood for letting every generation encourage the coming youth, but it also rhymed with Jodeci, which was our favorite group. So like we used to come in church dressed like Jodeci with like hockey jerseys and stuff on. And every time we would sing, the choir director or the pastor would be like, oh yeah, we need to take up an offering so these guys can get some church clothes, but they can come in here and look better than that next time or whatever. But the young people was rocking with us because we look like them, we look like the people that they like. But the guy asked us to try R&B one more time. And I'm about to get to the good parts now. So we tried R&B one more time. We went to Interscope. They kind of slept on us. They apologized later on. They was like, well, I'll tell you about that. But then we went to Island Black Music, which is with Harvey and all the people that Miss Jaggy. And they signed us on the spot like that same day. The same day we went up there and sung, we sung Five Steps, which was a song that we wrote together. And they were singing the whole time. They were singing Tell Me. And we was like, dang, that's rude. We sitting there singing, and this man sitting there singing a whole nother song of what we sing, not even paying us no mind. But what we didn't know was that the soundtrack for the movie Eddie was being recorded. Well, it's already had been recorded. And they actually had Dave Hollister on Tell Me. But he was like, Dave Hollister is signed to another label. As great as he sounded on the song, because Dave Hollister could sing pretty much anything and it sounded great. And his version of the song was wonderful because that's what we heard for the demo when we went to record. But Dave Hollister was assigned to their label. They was like, we got our own group that's on our own label. We could push it even bigger and make it snowball into a whole album or whatever. So we ain't know all of that. But anyway, we record that night. They put us in the studio and we never went home from the audition. We went in the studio and recorded Tell Me. And everything just went from there. So then we do Apollo, and this is where the craziness started. Well, first off, they like, y'all need a name. Because our name was Legacy, and of course they wasn't fit. They already knew that Cisco. My fault again, because he used to listen to Boyz II Men. He had the cane and everything. He used to wear the suit and walk around doing his hair like Wanye. I got the picture to show you. I'll send it to you ahead of time when we get done. But he was the big Boyz II Men fan. I was the Jodeci fan. So one week we switched tapes. You know, back in the day, you trade tapes. Everybody we ain't school, we ain't got no money. We get allowance. So you got this tape, I got this one. So look, I'm gonna let you hold that, and then you let me hold that. He come back from that weekend, I let him hold my Jodeci tape. I don't know where I know where he got it from. It was a store called Cookies that had all the fashions that people wanted videos, but a great value version of it anyway. So the clear sweatsuits that Jodeci had on in the Come and Talk to Me video, that man had the orange one on when he came back from that weekend. He used to wear his hat like this, like Boyz II Men. This man came back after that weekend with his hat like this, and he was KC. So it's like, when we got up to there, the reason why they loved him, the guy butt naked Tim Doug used to work with Jodeci. So he heard him, fell in love. He's like, oh man, he heard the whole Jodeci sound because that's what we had. So put us in the studio, we recorded that song or whatever. So that name couldn't be Legacy, sounding like Jodeci, and then we sound like Jodeci, to the point where JoJo told me one time, first time I met JoJo and KC, they was like, man, JoJo woke me up at 6 o'clock in the morning and said, hey man, where we record this? Because it sounded so much like us, so our name couldn't be that. So he got on the phone with one of the members of the group who was the one who basically did the business stuff. He knew all about the business. The rest of us just knew about singing, but he knew the business. So they came back and told us our name was Drew Hill. And at the time we mad just because we like, ew, yo, that people gonna think we local, like that's a Baltimore place, ew. But now I know that a druid is actually a male version of a witch. And a hill in the Bible is synonymous with mountain. So our name really meant witch mountain. Then the lady who did the artwork for the album, you notice on the first album it was shot in a Chinese restaurant. And so it was like a dragon behind us. So when we went to do Apollo, it was like, you guys need a logo so that we could put it up behind y'all when y'all performing on the stage or whatever. So what y'all, we was like, we don't know what logo we want, you know? So they say, what y'all think about that dragon that was behind y'all in the Chinese restaurant? So me and Jazz, like I said, me, Cisco, and Jazz, church boys. But me and Jazz looked at each other like, yo, ain't the dragon bad in Revelations? But then they tell us no, but in China, that's what you know. And we think we don't only from Baltimore. So it's like the same way how y'all thinking that name gonna make y'all local or whatever. Like you gotta go other places and realize that the dragon in China in the Asian culture mean wisdom and it mean this and it mean that. So we like, hey, maybe we was being small-minded, we let it go. But fast forward, I met Prince right after I left the group. I was working on my gospel project, and the lawyer that we had is the same 50-50 partners with Prince. So I'm in Electric Lady Studio, Jimi Hendrix studio.
That's my studio.
Yeah, you know,
I love it. I recorded there.
Yeah, you remember Jimmy, his cat that was in there, Jimi Hendrix cat?
Yes.
Yeah, he was so laid back. They was like the spirit of Jimmy was in there. Cat. He really act like a person. I never met a cat that cool. And I don't like cats.
Like, put the cat up while I was recording. Yo, they had to put the cat up while I was recording because we were there doing most of our album. I was with the Family Stand and we were doing most of our album. And I was like, I'm allergic to the cat. Like y'all got
make you sneeze and stuff. Yeah. Did you sing Ghetto Heaven?
No, I didn't do Ghetto Heaven. I did an album with them called Connected. You got to go listen to it.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, because I definitely like Family Stand. But yeah, Prince came in. And I was hyped to meet him because I wanted to meet Prince since I was a little boy. Like I told my mother when I was a little boy, he took his shirt off and ran around the place at the American Music Awards. I think he sang Let's Go Crazy. He took his shirt off and ran around the building. I told my mom, I said, Mommy, I'm going to do that one day. Then, no, you ain't either, because he wasn't singing church music. But anyway, he walks in, and I knew not to try to take a picture because I remember back then he had that bodyguard, and I don't know if it was a gimmick for TV or if it was real. That bodyguard named Big Chick, the white dude, kind of looked like a Great Value Hulk Hogan. And people would try to take a picture and here, mush him in the face and stuff. So I knew not to ask for a picture. So he was like, Artist, that's when he was going by the name The Artist. He's like, Artist, this is one of my clients also. This is Woody. He used to sing with the group Drew Hill. He doesn't sing with him anymore. But you remember Prince was Jehovah's Witness. So Prince knew his Bible. He used to go door to door and really witness to people. And Prince said to me out his own mouth, he said, is that the group with the symbol of the dragon? I said, yes, sir. He said, I see why you left. And then he won't talk about that no more. He introduced me to his wife, and then he levitated off like what people say he do. So I'm like, people knew what time it was. Like the same thing me and Jazz said to each other. That's what he said to me. And moving fast forward, when they went to do the tour that they on now, the 25-year reunion or whatever, I told them, they asked me to participate. Of course, I had my reservations, personal reasons or whatever, but I said to the manager when he called me, I said 2 things, and I'll come on tour with y'all this one time. If you could make these 2 things happen for me. And he said, what's the 2 things, Wood? I said, well, we get rid of the dragon, first and foremost. I said, number 2, the name. And I was like, No Edition did it when they went on tour, even though one member was not a part of it when they did it. Well, but no, 2 members wasn't, but still, when they were Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike, you think people still not going to come see them because they call it Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike and not calling it New Edition? So why we couldn't be Cisco, Jazz, Nokia, and Woody? You feel me?
Right.
Just for this tour or whatever, if you want everybody there. But they was like, the manager was like, oh, that's the same way that people look at McDonald's. Mickey D is cut of the arches. So if you take them arches down, people not going to want no Big Mac and no Sunday. But that's not out of my hands. It wasn't my decision to make, but that's what I said. I can't operate with those 2 things, knowing what they mean. And the other people, I'm not knocking nobody else because other people, their knowledge might be a different place, and some people just might don't care about that, But for me, that was important to me because what they say, when you know better, you do better. So then once I knew that, I couldn't participate,
Yeah, but the question then becomes, the question becomes, because people would say the symbol of a dragon or the name, as Jackie was talking about with videos and imagery, we, the fans, would just see it as just a gimmick or something that catches your attention. And, so in your case, would we believe that when you guys were having Return of the Dragon and the whole dragon stuff, did you guys willingly or knowingly have this sense that it could be something evil and spiritual, and you were trying to spread the message? Or was it just like, oh, this is a nice gimmick and people will know us by it?
Like I was saying, that the one member kind of knew more stuff that other members didn't, And so it's like basically the label and the one member would sit down and concoct whatever they were going to do. And then they would just tell all the rest of us what was going on because all we cared about was singing. So we just like, all right, like if that's what y'all saying it is, that's what I said. I was totally ignorant. Like me and Jazz, like I said, me and Jazz had the conversation when we looked at each other like, oh, ain't this you don't think that's a little funny? But then once they came back at us with well, in this culture, it means this and that and the other one, we like, hey, well, maybe we tripping. But then like once I had the time away, whereas though I wasn't around anybody and I got the time to really research and study for myself, that's when I realized that it was problematic. But even during that time, we used to have these little decal like stickers. You remember the tattoos, the bubblegum machine tattoos that you wet them and you put them on your body and they stay on there for like the rest of the day until you wash up or whatever. We used to have little dragon stickers that we used to give there. And then we started seeing people on tour getting it tattooed on themselves and stuff like that. And like in my mind, I didn't know what I know now. And I know that that's not exactly what that is, but I was just like, oh, what if that's the mark of the beast? And we getting people to get the mark of the beast on them and stuff. Like I know that's not what it is now, but it's not that simple. But at that time, it did used to like play in the back of my mind, like, what if we making people do something that they're not supposed to be doing? Like in the sight of the Heavenly Father, So I started having reservations then, but once I had the chance to really remove myself and be by myself and learn, then that's when I was like, man.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the Halftime Chat community. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, why don't you consider being a member? That's a way of supporting the channel, but also getting a lot of videos ahead of time, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and some exclusive content that doesn't get shared. But anyway, thanks for watching and thanks for being part of Halftime Chat. Sweet.